Governments like to present themselves as guardians of your financial freedom. They speak in reassuring language about stability, growth, and opportunity. But history tells a far less comforting story. For centuries, governments have relied on hidden financial mechanisms to keep ordinary people struggling while quietly consolidating wealth and power at the top. The most unsettling part is not that these tactics exist. It is that they are not new. They are recycled endlessly, renamed, rebranded, and repackaged for each generation, all serving the same purpose: transferring wealth upward while maintaining public dependence. The oldest and most effective of these tools is inflation. When governments spend more than they can collect through taxes, they face a choice. They can raise taxes openly and face political backlash, or they can quietly reduce the value of money itself. History shows they almost always choose the second option. Ancient Rome perfected this method. In the 3rd century CE, emperors struggling to finance armies gradually reduced the silver content of the denarius. What had once been nearly pure silver became mostly copper coated with a thin silver layer. Officially, nothing changed. In reality, savings collapsed, prices surged, and wages lagged behind. Citizens paid a hidden tax without ever being asked. The method survived the empire. Only the tools changed. During the Middle Ages, monarchs developed another tactic: forced loans. Kings in England, France, and Spain routinely compelled wealthy merchants and guilds to lend money to the crown. Refusal was not an option. It meant fines, confiscation, or imprisonment. Repayment, when it happened at all, often came late and in debased currency. The state funded wars and palaces, while private capital was extracted under the banner of duty and patriotism. By the 17th century, the system itself evolved into the trick. The creation of the Bank of England in 1694 was not a charitable act. It was a wartime necessity. Wealthy investors purchased government bonds, receiving guaranteed interest funded by taxes. On the surface, it appeared fair. In practice, the burden fell on ordinary people through consumption taxes on essentials like salt, beer, and cloth. The wealthy lent money safely. The poor paid the interest. This model institutionalized a pattern that still defines modern finance. Lending to governments became the safest investment in the world, precisely because repayment is enforced through the labor and consumption of the population. In the modern era, the same dynamics continue under more sophisticated language. Deficit spending is presented as public investment. Governments issue massive amounts of debt, promising infrastructure, jobs, and social programs. Yet a significant portion flows to defense contractors, corporate subsidies, and financial bailouts. When repayment becomes unavoidable, spending at the top remains intact. Instead, taxes rise, benefits are cut, or inflation erodes purchasing power. Profits flow to bondholders. Costs land on households. Bailouts offer a clear illustration. During the 2008 financial crisis, reckless risk-taking nearly collapsed the global system. Losses were absorbed by taxpayers through government intervention. The institutions responsible not only survived, but emerged larger and more concentrated. Gains remained private. Losses became public. The narrative framed this as necessity, saving the system, while quietly reinforcing inequality. Even pensions follow the same logic. For decades, workers have paid into government-managed retirement systems, trusting those funds would be preserved. In reality, many governments spend the money immediately, replacing it with promises. The system relies on future taxpayers to cover obligations when retirees collect. As demographics shift and populations age, the illusion breaks. Benefits are reduced, retirement ages rise, or payouts are inflated away. What appeared secure reveals itself as intergenerational transfer masked by bureaucratic language. At every stage, perception is the key mechanism. Inflation is framed as growth. Forced loans become duty. National debt is sold as investment. Bailouts are stability. Pension cuts are reform. The vocabulary hides the reality, a consistent transfer of wealth from the many to the few. This strategy has endured because most people do not study economic history or understand how financial systems function until consequences become unavoidable. In recent decades, these tactics have only grown more complex. Quantitative easing exemplifies this evolution. After 2008, central banks created trillions in new money to stabilize markets by purchasing bonds and financial assets. The financial system recovered rapidly. Asset prices soared, stocks, real estate, and bonds surged. But ownership of these assets is concentrated among the wealthy. For households without significant investments, benefits were minimal, while living costs rose and markets distorted. Money creation preserved the system, but primarily for those already at the top. Stealth taxation operates the same way. Instead of raising income taxes, governments rely on consumption taxes, fuel duties, and inflation itself. When prices rise faster than wages, the difference functions as a hidden tax on savings and purchasing power. Inflation reduces the real value of government debt, making it politically convenient. For citizens, it quietly erodes financial independence. Higher nominal salaries create the illusion of progress while real wealth declines. Regulation adds another layer. Officially, regulations exist to protect the public. Historically, they often protect incumbents. Railroads in the 19th century, oil companies in the 20th, and financial and technology firms today have all shaped rules in their favor. Regulatory capture allows corporations to influence the referees rather than compete fairly. The public sees protection. Insiders secure profit. War finance completes the cycle. Governments frame bond purchases as patriotic duty. Citizens support the nation, but the financial structure ensures that wealthy investors receive secure returns guaranteed by future taxation. Wars are presented as temporary crises. Their financial burdens persist for generations. Complexity itself becomes a weapon. Tax codes stretch thousands of pages. Financial instruments grow opaque. Budgets hide transfers behind acronyms and technical language. When systems become too complex to understand, accountability disappears. In ancient Rome, debased coins were visible. Today, balance sheets buried under jargon serve the same function. These mechanisms matter now because they are accelerating. Inflation persists. Debt expands. Bailouts remain reflexive. Central banks continue to intervene. Costs are passed indirectly, ensuring most people never see the full picture. The result is a system designed to extract more effort for less real wealth while reinforcing financial concentration. History makes one thing clear: these tricks always return. Rome debased its currency. Monarchs coerced capital. Modern states inflate, borrow, and redistribute upward. Different eras, same structure. The most powerful trick is ignorance. People accept inflation as inevitable, taxes as unavoidable, bailouts as mercy. They trust messaging rather than history, and when the past is forgotten, its patterns repeat unnoticed. Financial education is not neutral, it is resistance. Understanding economic history does not make the system fair, but it makes manipulation harder. If this analysis changed how you see money, power, and government finance, subscribe to Empire of Money, where we expose the historical structures behind the financial systems that shape your life.